Through the soil he did crawl, first onto the Genesis, then the SNES, and pretty much every console at one point or another. Earthworm Jim, that chewy link of worm flesh, put Shiny Entertainment on the map back in '94. Though the team behind the game had actually won recognition as part of Virgin Games USA for the Genesis version of Disney's Aladdin. These people knew how to make a great platformer, but the introduction of character design by Doug TenNapel landed on them like a super suit from outer space. And lo, a star was born. Without breaking in any more lines from the cartoon, let me just try to summarize the plot. Jim's an earthworm, chillin', being wormy and all, when from up out of the sky comes this suit, crashing to Earth, landing on Jim, giving him super strength and whatnot. So he sets off to save Princess What's-Her-Name, that's her actual moniker, I'm not being lazy, I assure you, from her sister, the nefarious queen, pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed slug for a butt. Because if you're going to have a villain, you damn well better be willing to go into detail. So you start in a junkyard? Hey, I'm not trying to make sense out of any of this, I'm just trying to have fun. Junkyard, sure. And you platform around, jump on tires, blast the unholy bejesus out of some crows and dogs and whatnot. Good times. You can fire in 8 directions, you can whip things with your head, or is that your body, and swing around on conspicuously gleaming hooks distributed throughout the levels. Mash the jump button and you can slow your fall by helicoptering your head around. And those are just the base mechanics. I won't get into how one bungee moshes against a sentient booger, or races through an underwater cavern in a weird glass vessel. Seriously, who makes those things out of glass? The entire set design is on the weird end of the spectrum. I was willing to accept a junkyard. I can tolerate heck. This is 1994 after all. But when you start out with Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, and then replace it with elevator music, I know there's a greater evil afoot.
Ow! Ow!
Is nothing sacred? The answer, of course, is an emphatic no. Adding to the effect is some great, if simple, voice work by TenNapel. You will never forget that groovy! Earthworm Jim quickly became a phenomenon and was succeeded by a direct sequel, a 3D version for the N64 that we won't really talk about, a cartoon series featuring the vocal talent of Dan Castellaneta, TV's Homer Simpson, and a couple cameo appearances in Clay Fighter 63 1/3 and Battle Arena Toshinden. Unfortunately, as fast as Jim's star rose, it seemed to burn out as quickly. Nowadays, he's relegated to hazy memories, chance sightings in second-hand shops, and the occasional YouTube clip. As I mentioned in the preamble, Earthworm Jim is available for a slew of platforms. The Genesis version, of course, is the gold standard, as the port to the Super NES cut out some of the music and an entire level. There are Game Boy and Game Gear iterations, which are exactly what you'd expect, stripped-down versions for 8-bit architecture. The Sega CD received a special edition with an extra level and more vocal work, which was later ported to the PC. Game Boy Advance and DSi versions filled the gap until last year's release of Earthworm Jim HD on the Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network services. Wii owners, don't despair. Though you're left out of the HD boat, the Genesis original is available on the Virtual Console. Earthworm Jim might not be the platforming giant it was a decade and a half ago, but regardless, we think he's mighty fine. One might even be inclined to call him a hero for all time. He's certainly gone down in history as one of the most surreal and celebrated video game stars. Hooray for him!